Hello and welcome to my channel, Live in the Solution. I'm Mary Trimble and I have to do a separate video this week about the solar eclipse and all the astrological things that are happening for the rest of the month. And so you're going to have to excuse me for being late on the readings. They will come out tomorrow and they'll be for 2 weeks because I'm taking a break. It's my holiday. For a week. So I'm going to do a 2-week reading, and that will probably come out maybe on Monday. It's going to be from the 15th to the 31st. This total solar eclipse is huge. This is going to be like a big reset button. You know, there's so much happening during that time, and let's start off with what's going to happen this week. So August the 15th, Venus opposes Pluto at 17 degrees Cancer Capricorn, right? So what that means is, you know, okay, I'm not going to go into the technicalities of it, but what I will say, what it will bring up. It'll bring up issues like control versus vulnerability and financial, practical security versus emotional security. It's a very intense time for us. We're going to really feel these feelings. And it'll also highlight some excessive power of some of our leaders. And that will be feeding into the solar eclipse. Now, on the 19th, the moon comes into its regular opposition with Pluto and in Cancer and Capricorn, right? So, and it squares Eris and Uranus a bit later that day in Aries. This brings up really intense feelings. So we're going to have intense feelings all month, but these particular days, if it aspects your chart, you will be feeling these really intense feelings around relationships. So on the 21st of August at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have the total solar eclipse. Now so much is going on. Look, it starts at Oregon in the northwest, and it moves through Idaho, Washington, and exits at South Carolina. We haven't had one of these eclipses that have crossed the United States in 99 years. It was actually in 1918 was the last total solar eclipse that went across America. Now, this is huge because so much is happening in the heavens at this time. We have a grand fire trine, right? At the same time, that's happening kind of all month anyway. And that's like Saturn in Sagittarius, Uranus in Aries, and the North Node in Leo. Now, so this total solar eclipse is extremely powerful, and it's going to affect us in many ways. It'll have a huge effect on American history. Where the solar eclipse manifests the most is on its line, its trajectory, and it's going right across America. So America will really be influenced by this solar eclipse. Now, not only do we have a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, we have the new moon, a super huge new moon. We also have a cardinal grand cross, right? So at the eclipse, we'll have the sun, moon, Mars, and the North Node all in Leo. Now, what that means is that, and the North Node, when I say the North Node, that means going into the future. The South Node was where the lunar eclipse happened a week or so ago, and that represents our past. The North Node represents our future. And because all these planets and all these aspects are coming into alignment at this time, it's a collective, it's about our collective future. So there's some intense feelings, and we are going to see a lot of that manifested in Washington. This total solar eclipse, it's going to happen, I think it's 2 minutes and 40 seconds, something like that, which doesn't sound like a long time, but that's the lights going off in the middle of the day. This is like a big reset. It's like rebooting your computer. It's a brand new start. This collectively, what this means for us in terms of how it's going to affect us, it's leaving the past behind, and it's really going to bring in some inspiration for innovations for our collective future. So things that will help us going. It's quite positive. The Grand Fire Trine is going to bring that inspiration up for us. So we're going to get some really incredible innovative ideas that will just leave the past behind and go forward. Now, going forward in Leo, we are encouraged to be heart-based and go forward, heart-centered, right? Now, the thing about this eclipse is it happens at 28 degrees 53 seconds, I believe, which is almost 29 degrees. So it's kind of in the shadow. It's the shadow part of Leo. It's right at the end. So what we are asked to do is really be careful of the shadow side of Leo, you know, the arrogance, lording over other people, and self-importance, and, you know, oh yeah, you can start now, I've arrived. That kind of energy that we're being asked to let go of and live in true Leo, which is, you know, a heart and loving base. Love is the highest vibration, and that's what we're going to be encouraged to do going forward into the future as a total community and society, right? Because we need to live as a community, live in harmony with each other, see the best in each other, and come from a place of love, which is, as I said before, the highest vibration. So that's what we're going to be encouraged to do. Now, a lot more people will start to notice how we have, around the world, we have top-heavy governments, and we're going to see the inequality, and it's not going to sit right with us anymore. And it seems as we look around the world that the inequality is getting worse, not better. So what's going to come into the foreground is our top-heavy governments around the world, and people will start to wake up and understand that this can't continue. It doesn't work. We'll start to see a greater concern for the earth and the regeneration of it, and, you know, preservation of it. We'll see the injustice and the oppression that's happening around the world. There'll be more concerns about the earth resources, and more people will become aware of the earth's exploitation. And there will be it'll be a dynamic opposition between those people that live in one with harmony and live in one with the earth, and see us all as one, and see the earth as a living organism, as opposed to those who seek power and just exploitation of the planet and the earth. So we'll see those opposing forces, and we're going into a digital era where nothing is secret, everything is out of the open, and you'll have more and more people that will, you know, seek to live off the grid and be at harmony with nature and the planet. It's going to be a very interesting future that we're going into. Now, I think a lot of this, the effects of this solar eclipse, will play out in Washington. I have a feeling that this is going to play out in Washington on our political platforms. So not only does this solar eclipse fall across America, which indicates it's going to be extremely important in American history, but it also falls on the president's ascendant, which is his identity and what he projects to the world. Now, it also, not only does it fall on his ascendant, but it falls on his fixed star Regulus. Now, fixed stars are stars that barely move, and it's barely moved since the president was born. It's the heart of the lion, right? Which is what we're encouraged to live through our heart going forward in the future, right? This is the star of kings and leaders, right? Now it falls within 30 degrees of his Mars, which rules his 9th house of legalities and constitutional affairs, and also foreign relations, right? So keep that in mind. So the eclipse is conjunct with Regulus, and that's associated with leaders. And as a leader, he may be eclipsed in some way, considering that the eclipse falls exactly on his ascendants. So don't forget that the eclipse is a super new moon, right, as well. And this could indicate a really new beginning for the president. Now, Mars, right, is known, in mythology, it's the god of war. And it rules our animal, intuition, aggression, anger, and survival, right? So he could even begin a new military action of some sort. And what's really interesting, right, because Mars rules the house of, foreign affairs. Perhaps this could be against North Korea. His Mars descendant line runs right through North Korea. So that is a possibility. Or on the other hand, it may manifest in for legal issues coming up against him with the whole collusion with Russia issue that's been a theme going through his presidency. So now, as Mars transits through his 12th house of self-undoing, he may feel really angry and frustrated at the political development. So honestly, first of all, I just want to say that astrology isn't exactly predictive, but what it is it's symbolically predictive. And if we look, I also want to throw in this, right? Every 19 years we have a solar eclipse at exactly the same degree. So every 19 years we have a solar eclipse at the same degree in Leo, right? Every 19 years. Now think about what happened 19 years ago, right? Just before the solar eclipse, President Bill Clinton was in power, and I think it was 3 or 4 days before the solar eclipse, he was testifying before a grand jury about how he'd had sex with Monica Lewinsky. And also, not only that, issues, were being brought up about China giving him money for his campaign. So there were so many accusations and things flying around. I mean, he was nearly impeached. He was being considered for impeachment. So all these things were happening 19 years ago. So we have to see how this plays out. Things are likely to get very intense, particularly in our political arena. So it will be interesting to see how President Trump reacts and what happens in the next couple of weeks. I will say that it's really important to meditate during this time and really see a positive future. This is a brand new start for everyone, right? And what's interesting as well is this is, a number 1 year in numerology. So it really indicates on so many levels all year long about leaving the past behind, right? Leaving it behind, letting it go, and moving forward to a brighter future. I think that this is a really interesting, intense time. And as I said with the lunar eclipse, so many things are happening in the stars and astrologically that we really need to be able to go with the flow, you know, just accept that things happen for a reason. Don't hang on to anything and just keep moving forward. And also don't, you know, clean your closet, you know, don't hang on to relationships that no longer work for you. Move on to a brighter future. And that's what I have to say. So some pretty interesting and intense things happening this month, right? I'd just like to say thank you so much for tuning in and listening, and please give me a big thumbs up if you like this video. Comment down below and give me your feedback. Share if you feel inspired to do so, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll be back tomorrow hopefully with some readings for you that will last for 2 weeks. And you can always, if you would like a personal reading, you may email me, mary@liveinthesolution.com, or you can check out my website, liveinthesolution.com, and there'll be and you should be able to click on it, and somewhere up here or up here in the video there'll be links to click on so that you can do that. So thank you all. I wish you all a wonderful month, and a wonderful positive month, and I'll see you soon. Take care.